Hey, so I'd like to introduce you to our VR streaming setup. So this uses the Oculus Quest Pro and uses the facial recognition and hand tracking to be able to bring out your personality. And you can use custom avatars in this as well. So one of the biggest things I want to talk about with this setup is it's entirely run on the device. So the camera feed comes through in the setting of the scene. So you don't need to do any additional setup outside of running the application itself. One of the big reasons for this is like you see there's examples of VR filters where you can put a filter over your character and can kind of pick up on your hand gestures. This takes that additional step by putting you in a 3D environment. So as you can see, like there's a palm plant here. I can interact with that. I've got a few other objects around this area. So what this allows you to do is create an educational setting. So you could use a 3D object and be able to talk about different parts of the object and display it in a way without having to have the actual physical object in your space. So here is another example that I've created. So as you can see, we've got some skellies in the background. So I've chosen a T-Rex skeleton, and if I just move over to the side here, like we have the skull. One of the cool things you can do with this environment, as long as I don't hit my hand, you can actually bring the camera with you. So with this, it allows me to move the camera into a place where I can like zoom in on the skeleton itself and give you more detail of how it looks. So as you can see, it can give you different perspectives to how we could do the layout of these structures and introduce like different 3D models and use it for an education experience or training. So another kind of area you can do is a kind of streaming space. So here we have the logo behind me. You could use behind me to share your screen. But what we can also do is if I press this button, it allows us to bring a more holistic view. So now I can do a kind of streaming studio and advertise myself this way and be able to talk through things. One of the other parts I want to show is on this monitor here. Is you can also have the ability to share your screen. So this way you could actually do collaborations with other team members. They could be streaming into your video and you could be sharing with a live audience. So I hope this gives a good example of what kind of VR engagements you can build out using virtual devices with 3D assets and introduce a new dimension of interactivity and immersion. Catch you in the VR world.